Krishna Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Sri Radhe Jaya Jagannath Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jagannath Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, everybody. At the outset, I beg the mercy of all the Vaishnavas and senior devotees, because I am new, and if I have any mistakes and all that, please point me out so that I can correct myself and also purify myself by speaking about the glories of the Lord, and also can highlight and improve myself and purify myself. So today we are discussing on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 13 and verse 23. And Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Narayanam Namaskritya, Naranchaiva Narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Jayamudhiraye. Srinnatam Shapata Krishna Punna Savana Kirtana Ridiyantasto hi avadrani Vidhunoti Shurit Shatam Nashto Prayasha Avadreshu Nittam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiti. So I'm sharing the screen so that everybody can see. So can everybody see the contents?
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So it is, as I have told earlier, it is Canto 4, Chapter 13 and verse number 23. Navoteyaha prajapalaha prajabhiragavanupi jadasho lokopalanam vibhorti ojo satejasa. Navoteyaha prajapalaha prajabhiragavanupi jadasho lokopalanam vibhorti ojo satejasa. Navodeyaha prajapalaha prajabhiragavanupi jadasho lokopalanam Vibhorti Ojo Tejasa. So if anybody can
Hare
like to
Krishna,
recite, can anyone
Prabhu.
do that? Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Prabhuji, Dandavat.
Na abaddeya prajapala prajaviragavanapi yad asau lokapalanam vivarti ojasa tejasa. Hare Krishna.
Anyone else?
Agreed. Hare Krishna. Nabodheyaः prajapalaः prajagiragavanopi yad asho lokopalanam vibhortyajah satejasa. Hare Krishna.
Anybody else?
I am trying to do.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please.
नावध्येह प्रजापाल प्रजाभिरघन्वनोऽपि जदोषौ लोकपालनां बिभर्ति अजः सतेजस. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, anyone else? So can anyone please read out the synonyms, please?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Please continue.
No, never. Avatya, to be insulted. Prajapala, the king. Prajavi, by the citizens. Agavan, ever sinful. Api, even though. Yat, because. Asau, he. Lokopalanam, of many kings. Vivarti, maintains. Ojaha, prowesses. Tejasha, by personal influence. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone can please read out the translation, or any volunteer, please?
Yes, I can read, Prabhu. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is the duty of all citizens in a state never to insult the king, even though he sometimes appears to have done something very sinful. Because of his prowess, the king is always more influential than all other ruling chiefs. Thank you, Prabhu.
And anyone can please read out the purport? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I?
Yes, please continue, Mata.
According to Vedic civilization, the king is supposed to be the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is called Nara Narayana, indicating that Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears in human society as a king. It is etiquette that neither a Brahmana nor a Kshatriya king is ever insulted by the citizens. Even though a king appears to be sinful, the citizens should not insult him. But in the case of Vina, it appears that he was cursed by the Nara Devatas. Therefore, it was concluded that his sinful activities were very grievous.
Thank you, Mataji. So I am now continuing with that. So before that, I'm just praying to the Om Ajnana Timirandasya Dhyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmoi Sri Guruve Namo Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Padamayam Dadati Shapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Pada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sabhajatam Shahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Shaddaitam Sabadhutam Parijana Sarita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahavana Lalita Sri Vishakantangsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpadarupyascha Vipashindubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namo. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Rupadanugami Sri Shubha Goswamini Sada Vinnashiri Shubhagaya Sarva Jiva Pribhavde Guru Shiksha Sadacharo Palopaya Namastute. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhishesha Shunyavadi Paschakta Desha Tarine Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pungum Langhayate Girim Yatkipa Tamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam Sri Guru Dina Dharana. Hare Krishna. So today, as we have told, we are discussing on Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapter 13 and verse 23. In this chapter, as from the purport we have just seen, that the Vena, we are discussing about the descendants of the Maharaj, and particularly Vena, the king who was one of the descendants of the Maharaj and the king of the whole universe. He was cursed by the Munis and he died because of that. And Vidura is inquiring from Maitra Muni how it is that Vena, who is the son of Anga, who was also one of the he was also culture. He was a writer's king and also a protector of the Brahmanical culture. Why his son has become so fallen? And Dhruva Maharaj was a great devotee, and he is a Rajarshi king, and Ungo was his descendant. He was also a writer's king. And how it happened that his son became so fallen, and then Munis had to curse him, and because of that he died. And why it happened like that? Now, in this context, we will discuss about three things here today. And first, the position of the kings in the Varnasrama system or the Vedic times, or also when it is followed subsequently, and his qualities, his responsibilities, his position, and why it is considered very glorious. The position of a king is considered very glorious, and what is the effect of a king's action in the society when he is a good king and when he is not doing properly, and what is the effect of it in the society and the kingdom. And the third is, in the present day when there is no king anywhere, almost, what is our position? At least the following the Varnasrama Dharma, the qualities and the responsibility the king used to do in those days, that is no more present in nowadays. So what is our responsibility in doing in the present days, and how we can lead a dharmic life in the present day? So now first I am starting with the qualities of the king. As we know, in the Varnasrama system, there are 4 Varna. Varna means social division. Social division, there are 4 divisions of the society, and everybody knows it because, so I'm just repeating, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and the Shudras. So in the second of these 3, Kshatriyas comes in second in order. First is the Brahmanas. Normally in Bhagavad Gita, in verse 18:42-43, in 42 the qualities of a Brahmin is shown, and in 43 the 7 qualities of Kshatriyas are shown. I'm just reading out what is there. Shaujam tejo dhriti vidaksha yuddhe chapi apalayanam danam ishvara bhavascha kshatriya karma svabhavajam. That means Shaurya means heroism. That this is one of the great qualities of a Kshatriya. And second one is Tejo, means power. Dhriti means determination. Daksha means resourcefulness. And Yuddhe Chapi Apalayana. He is very courageous in fighting in the battle. He shows courage in fighting in the battle. So that is Yuddhe Chapi Apalayana, that means. And Danam means he is generous. They normally give donations and they were generous. And there's Ishvara Bhavascha. Ishvara means here leadership. He is the natural leader of the society. And And these are the qualities of the Kshatriya. These are the 7 qualities are there. Of course, the Brahmanas have got 9 qualities. I'm not discussing it here because it is not, but of course, subsequently we'll discuss. Now, one of the qualities of the Kshatriyas, as I've told, Juddhe Chapi Apalayana. He shows courage in the battle. But before we go that, may I ask you, who this Varnashrama system has got 4 divisions of society. May I know, can anyone please tell who introduced this Varnashrama system? Who has created it?
Lord
The Lord.
Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Mother. Yes, in Bhagavad Gita, in verse 413, it is
4:30,
mentioned.
yeah.
413, it is mentioned. Chatur Varnam Maya System Guna Varnam Vibhagasha. That means based on the qualities and the activities they perform, the Varnashrama system is introduced by the Lord Himself. So it is the Lord system. So there is we should have no doubt that is the best system. The society, of course, nowadays it is not there, but it is one of the best system for this social system. And as I was telling about Juddhe Chapi Apalanam, if we look at the Bhagavad Gita in verse 31 to 37, in the before the context was that Arjuna was bewildered. Even in at the end of the first chapter, he decided not to fight, and Lord Sri Krishna was impressing upon him that he has to fight. And while explaining the reason why he should fight in chapter 2, particularly verse 11 to 13, he was talking about the soul or the Atma, and why the Atma cannot be killed, it cannot be, and the various features of the Atma was told. And so if someone is killed, if he knows that, so he's not killing anybody, and that was the part. But from 31 to 37, the Lord was explaining to Arjuna the need for a Kshatriya to do even in the material level what he has to do. Because if he doesn't do that, he was considered that if he doesn't do it, that he will incur sin, because as a Kshatriya he has to fight. If he doesn't do that, he will fail in his responsibilities, and also even the material point or the social point of view, in the material point of view also, that when a Kshatriya king doesn't fight, people will say ill of him, and he will incur infamy, and the infamy is even for a respectable person, infamy is more than a death. Shambhavita, I think it is in 234, in the second part it is there, that Shambhavita Chakiti Maranat Patirichate. That means for a respectable person, infamy is more than insult than death. So that was the quality of a Kshatriya, that he fights, and he fights for the protecting his kingdom, and not only in his kingdom, but in most cases they do for dharmic reason. It is not that they whimsically fight and they for their own sense enjoyment they do that, and for their fame only. They do it when the dharma is in problem, and as a representative of the Lord, he does that. Ensures the peace and tranquility in his kingdom, so that the society runs on the basis of the dharmic principle. And now the question of appointments, how the kings were appointed previously. As I think yesterday also Nandabaji Prabhu was told about, king was considered as the representative of the Lord, I mean Krishna. So it is mentioned, I mean in the Shastra also there is a mention of that. May I ask, can anybody please tell where it is mentioned that the king is considered as a representative of the Lord, or he is considered as a he is considered as a representative of the Lord? I can give some hint on that. It is on chapter 10, I think. Yes, chapter 10, where the Lord is telling about his vibhuti in vibhuti, or the opulence, or the. I think Can anyone please tell if it is given in it is.
What is the question, Prabhu? What is the question?
So the question is that king is the representative of the Lord.
Okay.
So where it is mentioned?
Yeah, in the 10th chapter, he says he is the Naranam Naradipam, I think.
Yeah, yes, yes, you're right. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, it is in 10:27. 10:27. Uccha Srava Samo Shanang Vidhimam Amritodhavam Oiravatang Gajendranam Naranang Cho Naradipam. That means of the horses know me as the Uchasrava, produced during the churning of the ocean of nectar, and of lordly elephants I am Oiravata, and among the men I am monarch. So the Lord, the king is considered as a representative of the Lord, just as our spiritual master is considered as a representative of the Lord. In a similar way, the king, he looks after all the citizens. So in the Vedic system, the kings were appointed, as I was talking about, is by three types of people. I mean, normally the elders of the royal family, and the senior members of the royal family, and the brahmanas. There was a category of brahmanas who knew the shastras, and they checked it whether the king was eligible to perform his duty as a king, and the ministers who has knowledge about the society. So they all together sat and then selected a proper and competent person as a king from one of the members of the royal family. So that means it was from a royal family, but it was selected by three categories of people, and they look after the competency of the person. And just as we have seen in case of Dhruva Maharaj, his son Utkala was not made king because he was considered not, although he was a very elevated devotee, but he would not be able to serve as a king because he was not very much materially involved in material life. So a competent person was selected as a king. And the reason, another reason why the king is considered as a representative of the Lord is that the king, we have seen in the Abhash principle, the Krishna is the maintainer of the universe, and the kings who are appointed on account of their godly qualifications, they are also the maintainers of the kingdom, because one person has to look after the welfare of the people, and so that the people can lead a dharmic life. That was the purpose. A king does becomes a representative of the Lord and performs his duty. And in fact, in the previous days, the kings were they were so highly elevated, and we can mention in the earlier website about Dhruva Maharaj, even Parikshit Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, even Lord Ramachandra as a king of his state. They have displayed high quality of king in their life, both in their personal life and as a king. And they were, in most cases, they were called Rajorshi kings. They were king at the same time, very elevated devotee of the Lord. And the king business was just as a guru brings a person nearer to the God. Similarly, the king has a responsibility. There's a society as a whole, acts in a dharmic principle, and he is totally responsible for the welfare of the people, including their spiritual life. In most cases, he was an example. By his own example, he used to teach, and he showed what the people have to do. And as we all know, in every society or in a society needs a natural leader, so who the innocent people in general can follow. The king was conversant with the people as well as the spiritual codes and other things. And as we have seen, I think in reference 3:21 in Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned that Yad Chadachara Viseshtas Tattad Evetarajana shaurya pramanam kuruti lokostadanuvartate. Just as the leader, what a leader does, the common man follows. And similarly, that was the case of a king. In the social, he is a social leader. And in the society, by his example, people follows him. And if he leads a very elevated and devoted life, the goal of the society becomes in the right direction, and a good society is created. And the king was responsible for that. And in the time of aggression from others outside, the king used to protect his citizens by fighting, by showing his valor. But as I have told earlier also, in most cases they do it based on principles, and the king never did anything which is not against the against the principle of dharma. And he was aware of the codes, moral codes, and the things, and the spiritual codes. And he was advised by a group of brahmanas, and these brahmanas were so elevated that they were independent, and they were not dependent on the king really for their maintenance, because the society maintained them, and the king used to respect them. And most of the kings were following the advice the brahmanas used to give them. And in the Vedic days, in the society, I'm just giving a few examples of those. What was the protective action they used to do against in the different members of the society? First is they used to give in the glorious days, the varnashrama dharma. They protected the brahmanas, the cows, the women, the children, the old and the disabled person. Are all properly given proper protection in the society. And what is the reason they were given? And I'm just trying to in a small way to explain what is the importance of each one of them. The brahmanas were protected because brahmanas are the maintainers of the institution of varnashrama dharma. And if the brahmanas were protected, the varnashrama system will be protected, and the spiritual life of the citizens will be ensured. And so the brahmanas were protected, and brahmanas were knowledgeable in the Vedic in the Shastra, and also they had a great influence over the king, and the king used to hear the advices of the brahmanas. And so that was the first thing, the brahmanas. And next is the protection of the cows. The cows were protected at this stage, and because the cows, with the protection of the cows, the most miraculous form of food, that is milk, that is for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain, and so that we can understand the higher aims of life. That was protected. And so the first is brahmanas, and then cows, and next is protection of the women. The protection of the women maintains the chastity of the society, by which we get a good generation for peace, tranquility, and progress of life. And the fourth is the children. The protection of the children gives the human form of life the best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. So if the child were protected, then they get an opportunity to begin their life in a way that, and the human goal of human life, they can, from the beginning of their life, they get the opportunity and prepare themselves for that. And for that, they can go to, previously they used to go to Gurukula under the spiritual master. They were trained, and and even from the beginning of their life, it started from the purificative process of Garbha Dan Sanskar, and in this way they go to Gurukul, and subsequently they went to the they enter the family life and subsequently get to to the last form of life. And so in this way, they get a full opportunity to use their human life in a proper way. And the old person, the protection of the old person were also protected in those days, and they were given the chance and opportunity so that they can prepare themselves for a better life after death. And the Kshatriya king also followed the dharmic principle, even when they were fighting with the enemies. And if we consider and just check what was the things they used to do, and putting some of it is given in our Bhagavatam in Canto 1, chapter 7 and verse 36, that it is told that even during fighting, the Kshatriyas maintained the dharmic principles, and it is mentioned who they did not, even they were fighting, they did not do all these things. And one of them is I'm just trying to read out what was the things they followed. Mottang pramottang unmottang suttang balang sriyam jaram praponnang viratang bhitam no ripu honti dharmavit. That means, motta means when who is careless. A careless person, even they wanted to fight, they did not fight with him. Pramottam, intoxicated. And similarly, unmottam, who is insane. Suktam, who is sleeping. The one who is asleep, he was never killed. And balam, to a boy. And striyam, woman. And jaram, who is foolish. And praponnam, who has surrendered. And viratam, one who has lost his chariot. And bhitam, who is afraid. And ripum means the enemies. So even the enemies were any of these categories, they were not killed, they were spared. And if we look at the Parikshit Maharaj time, when Parikshit Maharaj was sown during his reign, it was Koli. He found that the Koli was trying to kill a cow and the bull, and he immediately intervened and stopped him, and he was about to kill him because he was killing an animal, innocent animal. And it is mentioned in the King Parikshit how Parikshit Maharaj received the age of Koli, chapter 16 of Canto 1. And where it is, he pardoned him. Because he pardoned him, why? Because the Koli surrendered to him and apologized for that. So as we have seen, just read out, that the king was not only fought, but he fought on a principle. And dharmic principle was the basis to which all the activities were carried out in the society. And during their administration, or during their administration, the king was taking care of not only the human being, he was taking care of all animals, all plants, all natural resources in such a way that all the citizens feel safe, not only in their material life, but in the spiritual life. And the king was a protector of the dharma, and he ensured protected, or they perform their dharmic life, and at the end of their life, they get the opportunity to go back to Godhead. So that was the responsibility of a king. When he acts nicely, the society is so peaceful and the situation is so favorable for people to live a natural and dharmic life that they can go back to God. The situation was favorable for them. But unfortunately, this doesn't always happen. And when a king or the head of a state does not act responsibly, then the picture is a bit different, or in other words, the situation is much horrible. In case of Vena, the activities of a king was not being carried out, and the why, what Vena did, it will be dealt with in the next chapters. I think other speakers will talk about that. And when the king doesn't do his duties properly, all rogues and thieves flourished, the kingdom becomes unregulated, and all the citizens suffers greatly. In the recent times, we see this situation when the head of a state do not normally follow, do not take care of its citizens. And because they don't follow the dharmic rule. And nowadays, the head of state no longer. As a result of this, we find killing of innocent people, animals, including cows, meat eating. As we are talking about, the opposite happens now. Including the human beings are killed, the cows are being killed, meat eating is rampant, intoxication, illicit sex, gambling, rampant and encouraged almost everywhere. And atheistic plans and ideas are implemented vigorously. And these are the manifestations, the actions of demoniac people. And demoniac people has been described in chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita. And what is their character? Two types of people are described, the Shuros and Ashuros. Shuros are those who abide by the rule of the Lord, and Ashuros who do not believe in that. By comparing the description, both the qualities are very clearly described there, who are Shuros and Ashuros, and we can ascertain who belongs to what. But nowadays, most of when the kings do not run their administration, these Ashura qualities manifest often, and it is almost everywhere it is present, in the families, in the society, in the country, and also internationally. That's why there is a fight. Now there is a fight going on. When earlier it was there. So these are the manifestation of Ashura qualities. And these demoniac people, Ashura or demonic people, they do not believe in the action of karma. Just as we believe the action of karma, and we try to avoid the bad things. But the demoniac people say God is dead, and they try to live their lives accordingly. Because of the Ashuric qualities, there is a conflict in every family, community, as I have told, family, community, country, internationally. And the demoniac propensity needs to be curtailed and must be curtailed. And this is possible only through the introduction of Varnashrama system, and that was ordained by the Lord, as we have discussed. And when Varnashrama dharma is implemented and enforced by saintly kings, then the life becomes favorable for dharma, and people can maintain a life, a dharmic life, individually and also socially. Prabhupada at one time, I mean, in Calcutta, I think in 70s, and after he went back from USA to Calcutta for some time, and he was giving a lecture about on East and West. Of course, East and West now, and the things have changed now. I mean, Prabhupada was telling about the attitude of the people in the East and West, and he was telling that the culture, physically, geographically now, there is not much difference between the East and West. But in general, I mean, it is a general, again, it is not a specific, there are exceptions to both the things. And Prabhupada told that in the East, in the West, that means in the Western world, the people think that they are the controller of their own destiny. And that is, in fact, Prabhupada once told, that is a demonic attitude. But if you ask any person in the West and in the present days, like, I'm not sure anyone has asked him then, but if you ask any great people of the Western world who has become very great, you ask him what he thinks about himself, who has helped him to do that. He says, I did it myself. I have done this, I have done that, and I have made so much labor, and this way I have achieved my position. But in the East, in India, still, even the great people, if you ask him how this great position in the right, how do you think you have, who has helped you to that? He will immediately say, by the blessing of the Lord. So this is the attitude of a demoniac people and Shura people, Shura and Asuras. But in the present days, the Asura qualities, even the kings, even the administrations, everywhere has spread. And Prabhupada established ISKCON so that Varnashrama system, we can revive it, and we can counteract the people of this demoniac nature, and who challenges the existence of God and wants God themselves. And some of them even wants to be God themselves. So that is even more demoniac. So in the present days, as we are discussing, as I'm told, in the present day, the situation is very bad for us because there is no Rajarshi king anywhere. In the society, in the families, in the societies, and in the countries, and also internationally, these people of Ashuric people, or the demoniac people with demoniac conception, are rampant everywhere. So what is our duty at the present moment? Because we see that in the previous days, king is a representative of the god, and this is the basic conception. And the king used to protect the citizens, their material comforts, and also came to see that they perform their devotional activities according to the injunctions of the scriptures. The kings were accustomed with the scriptural injunctions. But in the present days, there is total absence of such kings. Prabhupada at one time called this civilization as a civilization of polished cats and dogs. That human beings are like an animal in most of the cases. And this is the reality, and we cannot ignore that one. And there is no religious principle in the administration nowadays. And it is only so in the present situation, this being the reality, we have to take care of our religious. We have to see that the intelligent people in particular have to take care of their religious principles, and they can lead a life like that. So Prabhupada in Krishnadas Kaviraj in his Chaitanya Charitamrita has told that Krishna Jai Bhaje Shei Boro Chatu. One who renders devotional service to the Lord, he is very to Krishna, he is very clever, because those people who are not doing that, they are trying to be happy in a place which has been recommended by the Lord himself, that Dukhalaya Mashashvatam in Bhagavad Gita chapter 8, chapter 8, verse 15. The Mamopeta Punarjanma Dukhalaya Mashashvatam no apnobunti mahatmana samshiti paramanta. So that is the place the Lord himself has told it is in Dukhalayam. So we have to make a plan to get out of it. And the human life is an opportunity to do that. And if we do not do that and increase our distress condition, so that and try to be happy here, then we cannot be told we are intelligent, and rather we can be called foolish only. So Prabhupada has created ISKCON for that purpose, so that the people we can systematically can propagate the spiritual knowledge of Krishna and educate people in the techniques, because there is no teachings of Vedic scriptures in any educational institutions, nor in the national and the administration from the government point of view. So it is our duty to bring the people together with each other and near to Krishna through the knowledge given in the various scriptures, and our spiritual masters, and ISKCON is trying to do through Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, so that realizing this transcendental knowledge, people live a Krishna conscious life and get out of this material bondage of repeated birth and death and finally go back to Godhead. So this is our present duty, and I hope I should conclude now. And if anybody has any observation and particularly any comments and any additions, please let me know and please correct me if I have not told properly on that. I'm happy to learn from all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Very beautiful morning with a lot of information regarding the Varnashram system. It just rehearsed the Varnashram system so nicely with good examples and the system of Varnashram, how it flows and what it is not flowing nowadays. Very nicely exemplified with different examples. But what do you see nowadays? The system is not followed, for which Prabhupada already instituted ISKCON, so that people come and join and learn about the Varnashram system, which is very, very important. Because as Bhagavad Gita said in 321, only the leaders can show the way the world need to follow. If the leaders are not following the scriptures, so there is no hope. That's why Srila Prabhupada has instituted ISKCON, so that people can get attracted and get the Vedic knowledge. What is the real leader? Because without the leader, the team cannot move. As we see even in our day-to-day life, in our organization, if the leader is not good, the thing doesn't go right. We can see the recent example in UK. See, the whole country is struggling because there is no selective leader, a proper leader. So many changes going on, one by one. Some days, some people work for 33 days, 34 days, and they fail because they are not educated in the system of Vedic civilization. That's why all the problems are happening. So in the whole world, we can see the lack of proper leaders, which Prabhupada has fortunately given us to follow so that we can make good leaders through this system. Thank you so much for enlightening the Varnashram system so nicely. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhupada also wanted that all the leaders of the country, or the head of the executive, executive head of the all states, follow the teachings of Sri Krishna. But unfortunately, nowadays the situation is almost adverse. I mean, the opposite of that. So if we ourselves try to preach it, and then there are more people, and more people realize it, and then at one time they will be forced to accept it, and that will be a way to improve the situation at the present days we are going through. If anybody else has anybody else has to say, please.
Hare Krishna, everyone. We still got a few minutes. Anybody got any comments, reflections? Please come forward to share it.
Hare Krishna, one more thing just came into mind. You know, David Cameron, the former Prime Minister of the UK, he openly declared that how he has systematically appointed the Indian origin people, because they can foresee that the Vedic civilization is still inherent in their blood, and they can change the shape of UK. And that's he already declared 6 years ago, and which is rightfully happening nowadays. You can see that example. So only the Vedic knowledge can improve the whole atmosphere of the whole world. Other than, there is no hope. So it is a great opportunity for us, for all of the people in the world, to think about Krishna conscious movement, which can enlighten the people of the whole world to think about the Vedic system and have a good life in future. Other than there is no hope. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing your realization. So if there are no further comments, we end the class here. His Grace Abhash Goswami Prabhu ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakti
Jai.
Vanchakalpadurubhishcha,
Jai Kripa Sindhu Patitanam Pavane Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Vaishnavan ki
Good
jai.
Vaishnav ki Jai.